Okay, students, it's time to learn about a new type of transformation. This type is called reflections, and it is just like you're thinking. It is what happens when you stand in front of a mirror and everything that you see is the image of yourself, and yourself is the pre-image. If you take your hand and flip it over, you can see that you have become the image of your hand. Hold your two hands out in front of each other with the pinkies touching and the thumbs pointing away, and you can see that your left and right hands are reflections of each other. Reflections are flips. Okay, let's see what that means. So imagine here you are standing in front of a mirror. Where will your image be? Will it be over here? No, it won't be over there. It will be directly across from you. So, and it will be opposite. So, here is your image directly across from you and opposite. If you raise your right hand, will the image raise its right hand? It will not. It will raise the hand directly across from it. And if you move further back, so if you move further away from the mirror, the image will also move further away from the mirror. That's something that has to do with reflections. No matter what this distance is always the same, and they're always directly across from each other, meaning that that angle there is a right angle at all times. So that works if the mirror is in the other direction, like a vertical direction. If I have a point here, its image will not be over here. It will be directly across, and the distances will be the same. Okay, so that's how these work. Let's see how it works in a coordinate plane. Here is a triangle. It has points A, B, and C. Let's find the coordinates first. So point A, that is -6, +11. Point B, that is -4, +4. Point C, that is -10, +4. Okay. Let's see if we can reflect it across the y-axis. Remember, this is the y-axis, the one going up and down. Let's take it one point at a time. Let's start with point A. Remember, it will be across from it at the same distance. Since this is 6, it will be 6 on this side, and point A prime will be right there. Let's look at point B. Point B is only 4 away. So point B prime will also be 4 away at the same level. Point C is even further away. Point C is 10 away. Point C prime will be all the way over here, C prime. And notice the image is flipped over left to right. Let's find those coordinates. A prime is +6, +11. B prime, let me clean that up. B prime, +4, +4. C prime, +10, +4. What happened to the coordinates? These originally were x, y. -6, +6. -4, +4. -10, +10. What happened to the x-coordinate? It changed to the opposite. So it became the opposite of x. What happened to the y coordinate? 11, 11, 4, 4, 4, 4. Did anything happen to the y coordinate? No, it stayed exactly the same. So this is the rule for going across the y-axis. Which coordinate changed, the x or the y? The x changed. We're going across the y-axis. Why does the x change? Well, what direction are we going? We're going left and right. If we go left and right, which axis controls left and right? The x-axis does. It's a little bit crisscrossy. When you go across the y-axis, the x-coordinate changes. Let's do the same thing, but this time we'll go across the x-axis. Okay, so remember, here's the x-axis. How far away is B from the x-axis? It's 4 away, so you go directly down here, B prime. 4 here, 4 here. C is also 4 away, so we'll go 4 on the other side, right there. So C prime should be right there. 10 is way up here. It's 11 away. So we'll go directly across from it, 11 away in the other direction, 11 down, connect the dots, and there is the image. Notice it flipped over, but this time it flipped top to bottom instead of left to right. Let's see what that did to the coordinates. A, it was still -6, +11. B was still -4, +4. C was -10, +4. See what happened to A prime. A prime's way down here. It's -6, -11. Let's see what happened to B prime. It's down here. It's -4, -4. What happened to C prime? It's down here. It's -10, -4. So let's see what happens to the coordinates. X coordinates. -6, -6, -4, -4, -10, -10. So the x coordinate. Did anything happen to it? No, it stayed exactly the same. Let's see what happens to the y coordinate. Y coordinate, +11, -11, +4, -4, +4, -4. It switched to the opposite. So it should be the opposite of y. Which one changed this time? The y coordinate changes. When you go across the x-axis, the y coordinate changes because what you're doing is going up and down. And which axis controls up and down? The y-axis controls up and down. Notice it's crisscrossy. X-axis, y changes. Y-axis, x changes. Okay, let's do a little practice. There's our triangle. We're going to reflect it across the y-axis. Here's the y-axis. Here's point C. It's 10 away in that direction. So I'll make it go 10 away in this direction. That's point C prime. Here's point B. Notice the way it's 3 to the right. Its reflection will be 3 to the left. There's point B prime. Here's point A. How far away from the y-axis is point A? How many spaces? It is 0 spaces. So since it is 0 in one direction, it will be 0 in the other direction. Point A is in fact its own reflection. A and A prime are the same point. because it is on the y-axis. It is on the axis we are reflecting across. Okay, connect the dots. There is the image of the original triangle, the pre-image. Let's see if that makes sense for our coordinates. A is 0, 11. A prime is also 0, 11. B is 3, 4. Remember, it goes to the right and up. Its reflection, B prime, is -3, +4. C is -10, +4. Its reflection, C prime, is +10, +4. The rule for y-axis was opposite x, regular y. Opposite x, regular y. Did that work here? Well, what's the opposite of -10? +10. Works out, and 4 is 4. Opposite x, positive y. Opposite of +3, -3. And 4 is 4. Opposite x, positive y. What's the opposite of 0? The opposite of 0 is 0. So it is the opposite of x, even though it's the same number. 0 is the only number that is its own opposite. And 11, 11. Still goes opposite x, no change in y. Okay, let's do one more. Here's a new triangle. We're going to reflect it across the x-axis. This is the x-axis, that's the y-axis. We're going to go across the x-axis. I'll write the coordinates first. A is -7, +17. B is +6, 0, because it doesn't go up and down, it's right on the x-axis. C is -7, -5. We're going across the x-axis, and the rule for across the x-axis, remember, is xy becomes x opposite y. X stays the same, y changes. xy, x stays the same, y changes. Okay, let's see if that works. Well, let's predict. What will be A prime? X stays the same, -7. Y changes, -17. B prime. X stays the same, 6. 0, opposite of 0 is 0. C prime. X stays the same, -7. Y changes, +5. So this is saying that I can go to -7, -17, -7, -17, and that should be where A prime is. I should go to 6, 0, 6, 0, and that should be where B prime is. I should go to -7, +5, and that should be where C prime is. And if I connect those three dots, that should be the image of the original triangle, of the pre-image. Let's see if that works. Well, here's C. It's 5 away from the x-axis. C prime is 5 away from the x-axis. Here's point B. It's on the x-axis. B prime is on the x-axis. 0 equals 0. Here's point A. It's 17 above the x-axis. Here's A prime. It's 17 below the x-axis. That works out great. So remember, the rule for across the x-axis is x stays the same and y switches to the opposite. The rule for across the y-axis is x changes to the opposite and y stays the same. That's it for reflections. I hope it makes sense. Try the worksheet. Write to me if you have any questions at all.